look at cost as part of, government regulation is a huge factor. And now that I've opened up a couple businesses and had to deal with some of that myself, that I had some government regulation on my last job that I did that was for my personal business that cost me an extra $5,000 that wasn't in the budget, and it was government regulation.
Welcome to the Building Community Podcast. I'm Tiffany Heitzman, Executive Director, and today I have a special guest, Mr. DJ Haddon from Sherwin-Williams. Hey, DJ.
Good morning, everyone.
Glad to have you here.
Yes, we're excited. It's been looking forward to this little podcast with you. So excited what all you're doing with the community and the building community, and looking forward to being able to share a few words this morning.
Thank you. So DJ, tell us a little bit how you got involved, like your journey into the construction industry.
I started with Sherwin-Williams when I was 19 years old. So I started, had a friend working for him, and he's like, man, it's a pretty cool job. Why don't you come try it out? So, and I did, and a few months into it, I was like, I kind of like this. I was still going to AU at the time, and I was like, yeah, I kind of like this, and moved around with the company a little bit and wound back up in Augusta in 2011. So, and that's when I was the new residential home builder rep in Augusta at that time in 2011. So that's when my focus changed to just the home building and new residential side of the business.
Yeah, and that's about the time you got involved with the Home Builders Association, isn't it?
Yep, I think some of the first events were like the chili cook-off and some of the events we had out here in front of the office. So that's kind of, of course, when you first get started, you're wanting to meet people, and then it just kind of grew into, what it is now with my involvement in the HBA.
Yeah, you were one of the first people that I met when I came to work here, and you immediately reached out and welcomed me, and I'm so grateful for that. You drive me crazy sometimes, but
Somebody has to.
I know, right. DJ and I have a great working relationship, and he and his wife Dana have become great friends of mine. I'm grateful for that. So we're celebrating our 70th anniversary, and so I think one of the best things that our association did was allowing associate members, because we have builder members, associate members, affiliates, and you were our very first president last year as an associate member. And tell us about that experience.
It was an honor, because there's a few guys in our association that I look up to a lot that are associates as well, been involved in a long time. So, I guess they could have easily been in that position if, probably when the timing was when they were, able to. It's a time commitment. So, there's a few guys that kind of mentored me when I started in this organization. So, but it was definitely an honor. I love the building community. It's I guess to kind of go back when I first started, everybody has kind of, and I think a lot of people in the outside world, when they hear about builders and developers, they kind of have a stigma attached to them. And once you get involved in the association, you see the charitable side of what a Mark Herbert does, or Mark Ivy, or Joe Todd, and what we did with the Builder Fund. That's what really changed my perspective on the builders, was when I seen that and those guys, how much they give money and time back to the community, and we still have a bad stigma sometimes, and I see what these guys do, and it's crazy. And that's what really grew a passion for this association, to work and volunteer my time and just work for these guys and help them, try to make this association, where we want it to be.
Yeah. I remember when we announced about you being president, and a colleague in another area was like, oh, y'all are going to allow associate members to be presidents of your association. Tell me how that happened. And I remember saying to them, I was like, he sells paint to all of them. He knows the building industry in this region, and more than just this region, better than anybody, because he sells them all the paint. And I remember this guy was just like, oh my, I never thought about that. I said, I think associate members bring a really incredible, perspective to the table. And as we sit in there to the board, around the board and making decisions. And I just think that I was honored that you are our first one and that we got to work together last year. Tell us, what was your biggest accomplishment last year?
I don't know. I had you working with me, so I guess my biggest accomplishment, it was an inside joke with me and you that you didn't quit. That was the biggest accomplishment. But
he did. I think it was like the December before he took office. He's like, "Don't you leave me." He's like, "Because I'm not going to have everybody mad at me because you left."
I was there, but doing the house for Mr. Stanley, that was awesome. I think we kidded that day. It's like, I can't believe I got all this done in 1 year. But I had a little bit of involvement in it. But you ran that that show right there. That was awesome for us to be a part of, and it was a great year. Great year. The community. We started this building community campaign last year. you just, you worked tirelessly, and I was just there to support you, and our board was there to support you.
Yeah, thank you. You were my biggest cheerleader, and even when you knew there were times when I was frustrated or whatever, you would always make me laugh or say something, like you do, because we banter back and forth. Somebody said, like, y'all act like brother and sister. I said, yeah, most days I want to strangle him, but I still like him. But yeah, I agree with you on Mr. Stanley's house. That was incredible that we were able to do that. And just for you out there, DJ doesn't just sell paint; he actually can paint, which I got to see firsthand. That
we try to keep that quiet. We don't want to advertise that. But
Right,
yes, I have been around for a long time, so I do know the proper ways of doing it, but I try not to.
Yeah. So we actually, put in some sweat equity on that house too, which I think was great. So from your perspective, what are the biggest challenges today in the home building industry?
I mean, right now, I guess the environment we're in right now is definitely cost. I mean, inflation and, of course, made a huge impact the last 3 to 4 years. Rates are still, a little high. I guess we can look at cost as part of, government regulation is a huge factor. And now that I've opened up a couple of businesses and had to deal with some of that myself, that I had some government regulation on my last job that I did that was for my personal business that cost me an extra $5,000 that wasn't in the budget, and it was government regulation that caused that. So so when we add these regulations, I've got builders that tell me stories that, say it's a custom build on a 3-acre lot, and then they want a certain type of, whatever it's erosion or just, and the builder meets with the inspectors, and he's like, okay, I understand this is what you want, but we can do it this way, same results, and it'll cost a homeowner $10,000 less. Why are we going to it's the discretionary just to throw stuff out there and just to pass money along. It's just so frustrating that we see from the building side that at the end, the builder's not going to absorb that. He absorbs some of it, but in the end, the homeowner's got to pay for it. And that's what's so frustrating is we're trying to keep costs down, and then it's just so easy to just say, okay, well, this is the way it needs to be, and just leave it as a blanket statement and walk away. And it just adds a lot of costs to the homeowner that a lot of times unnecessary. It's not adding any value. It's not adding any safety. It's not adding, it's not saving anything. It's a discretionary, whatever the term is, that they can just
government regulations
Government
that
regulation.
we have no control over. That
there's only a certain amount. You're only going to lower lumber but so much. Subs are at a point now with inflation they can't lower but so much. I mean, so we're crunched on numbers, but with rates being where they are, we have to get some relief somewhere to get the buyers back into the market. And it's just we have to tread lightly right now. I mean, I think builders, we have a lot of smart builders in our area that are aware of our surroundings right now, what's going on. But it's temporary. It's people got to buy houses. We just, what I've noticed from the 2008, 2010 downturn when we had all that, these guys were prepared this time. They didn't throw a bunch of inventory out there. We didn't do some things. We did a lot of things better this time.
Yeah, lessons learned.
Yeah. We were ready for it this time, and we're still fine. Augusta's a great community. We're so much better than a lot of places when we have, thriving industry, with SRS to NSA, we're fine.
Yeah.
It's just, it's just a little it's just kind of an adjustment. That's all it is right now. We'll be fine. But cost is a problem. Cost is definitely a problem. And the only way to get cost down is density and lower government,
less government restraint regulations.
Yeah, and I understand we got to have it. I mean, we want our houses built well.
We follow code.
Yeah, we want to follow code, but there's
safety.
But density and variance in neighborhoods, we've talked about it several times that we go to other areas and we see neighborhoods that, large, medium, small. We have to have more of those inside neighborhoods because when the developer buys a piece of land, he has a certain amount of cost in it. And if he can have some dense townhomes along with large tract single-family homes, if all these people can live together, and they do, there's several neighborhoods already out there that do that, and they're very nice, they're very clean, they're very well manicured neighborhoods. Everybody, there's no crime, very low crime. That's what we need to look at more.
Yeah.
Those type of, neighborhoods that the entry-level family can get started in there. the move up family, and then the people at the end of their retire or business life.
Yeah.
You know.
And data shows that, I mean, a lot of people like my age, older, even younger, in their 20s, they want small because they have discretionary funds. They don't want to spend it on a house.
No.
Where it used to be, you had to have 3 or 4 bedroom house. You needed to live in this neighborhood. You needed the white picket fence, the big backyard. But we're seeing that now and talking about like those planned residential developments
Yes.
where there's all different types of housing in there. So speaking of like trends in the building industry, what are the hot colors this year for Sherwin-Williams?
I mean, it's went to the lighter tone, especially in your higher end homes. It seems like the lighter is the higher, like a Snowbound, or a lot of seeing. What I'm really seeing a lot of, and I just doing a house over in Aiken, same custom, is a lot of the ceilings, walls, and trim, all the same color, even in a very high-end home. I'm
Really?
talking, couple $3 million house. That's very common right now. I forgot the term they're using for it, but it's all the same color.
Yeah.
In your spec homes, you're seeing a lot of lighter tones as well. It just when you have a lighter blank canvas, it makes your house feel more airy, larger. In the early 2000s, we had those dark tans, dark beiges, and dark grays. Thankfully, we got away from those.
Yeah.
As a painter and paint contractor or paint salesman, those colors are a nightmare. They make it tough to touch up,
Yeah.
but now the lighter tones are so much better for the painter and the paint vendor.
So the 80s tan is not back.
No, the
Okay,
80s
good.
tan's not back.
Yeah.
I think the Killam beige or whatever, that
Yeah.
was the color of.
What was it called again?
Killam beige.
Okay.
Yeah, 6109. It was like the number one SW color for like 5 years,
Yeah.
and then it went to agreeable gray.
Oh, yeah.
That was a hot one for like 5 years. So, but now it's toned down a lot. So
Yeah.
light and airy is kind of the
Yeah.
new tone.
I've seen a lot more whites.
Yes.
Like different shades of whites, but where everything's
Yes.
kind of white tone. So DJ knows this story, but my grandfather worked for Sherwin-Williams and retired and had a great career in Columbia. And so, of course, when I first got here, and I was like, I grew up in the Sherwin-Williams store. Literally, my grandfather would pick me up from elementary school, take me back to the store until my grandma could get there to pick me up, or my dad. And I used to love playing. I always played with the paint swatches and the wallpaper swatches, because you used to could cut out a piece of wallpaper.
No wallpaper in the stores no more. Like we
None in the
haven't carried
stores?
wallpaper in our stores probably 15 years.
That was the best thing.
Oh, yeah.
Like they would let you take the wallpaper books and you could cut out a square or something, so you
Oh,
could
yeah.
take it home and tape it on the wall.
We still have the books, but no in stock. No in stock wallpaper.
No,
Nope.
that's crazy.
Yep.
That blows my mind.
Yeah, so starting with the company, that was a big thing. Always the wallpaper, like we had little wallpaper samples you could come grab. So that's definitely
Back
changed.
and when I was growing up, you could cut them out of the book.
That's a huge trend change, I guess. You still see some wallpaper in your higher end customs, like in a powder room, maybe like in a dining room, a couple
Yeah.
maybe master bathrooms, but that's changed a lot. But you still see some of it, but very, very like spec homes, none.
Yeah.
You don't see no. Whereas the late 90s, early 2000s, we had several builders that they did kitchens, they did
Everything was
border.
wallpaper.
Remember border?
Yes.
Everybody had
Oh, yeah.
border.
Oh, yeah.
Had
In the
wallpaper
middle or
border
at
in all
the
the
top.
rooms.
Yeah. Yeah. The argument was, are you doing it in the middle of the walls or at the top of the walls?
Then we had the faux finish craze in the early
yeah.
2000s. Everybody had a faux finish or crackle something, and thankfully that went away as well.
Amen. Amen. Thank you. Well, you mentioned earlier about a couple businesses that you own, you and your wife, and I think this really ties into building community, because you don't just, work here, you actually own some businesses here. So tell us about those businesses.
Well, both of those businesses actually came from being connected with the Home Builders Association. So those are, so the first one was an outdoor store out by Lake Haddon Outdoors. So we opened it up in March of 2023. So same deal. I was social media. My son, who kind of, I guess you would kind of call him a pro fisherman at that time, was a college kid. College kid, high school kid, I think at the time, because this was probably 2022 or 21. A buddy of mine in Atlanta who owns a tackle store, he had a big sale, and I was advertising locally for him because he had a website, and everybody was on Facebook. It's like, hey man, wish we had a store like that. Wish we had a store like that. And a friend of mine, a builder, Eric Clark, had owned a piece of property up there that I had no idea he owned, and he sent me a message that night. He said, DJ, he said, I don't know if you know, but I own this piece of property, and he showed me some building plans that he was going to build there, and And so about in a day after that, I was like, told Dana, I was like, hey, I think we're about to open up an outdoor store.
Did you say a day?
Yeah, probably a day.
Sounds just like you.
Because I knew I couldn't pass up the opportunity. It was, it's you, as you know, I've been
Yes.
involved in high school fishing for so long, and that's what Eric had said. He said, DJ, you know everybody in the fishing community. He said, this will be a great opportunity. So I opened that up, and then a couple years go by, and then a local landowner had reached out to me and said, and what's funny about that landowner had interviewed a couple builders locally before he talked to me that knew me well. And he said, hey, I got a business opportunity. Want to meet with you. So we actually met at his pond and went fishing for the day. And and then now we've taken over Pollard's Corner. So we took over Pollard's Corner in January of this year, the wife and I. So that's been awesome. If I can give any advice to anybody, never own a gas station unless you've owned another business, because that is a machine. It is hardest job I've ever had.
Hard work.
Yeah, it's
harder
hard.
than selling paint?
Yes, it's a lot harder than selling paint. A lot harder than dealing with you. But it's been fun. It's an adventure. I love the challenge. It's great. I love the customers. I mean, it's so much fun to have all the people there. That store's so busy. We've got a great staff now. We've done a lot of work in there, so it's exciting. Yeah. But all of that came through my involvement with the Home Builders Association from 2011, 2012 and on. And I actually have other Sherwin-Williams sales managers throughout our company that will call me and say, hey, I need you to talk to our local rep and tell them about how to get involved and what to do with the association and how to get involved. And I always tell them, I say, don't send a check. I said, you need to be more than a check. I said, you need to get out here and get involved and work for these guys. I said, that's the way I feel about it. It's like my loyalty, if I'm going to get any loyalty from builders, is me out there working for them. Mm-hmm. And that's what I feel like when I'm doing with the association, when I'm out here raising money and doing things for them, is I'm working for their livelihood.
Yeah.
I'm trying to help them. And I always tell people, I was like, paint's such a small thing to a builder or a developer when it comes to that. I said, but if you know about laws that's coming down the pipe or things that really affect their business, thousands of dollars that affects their business, I said, and you help work for that, I said, that's a game changer.
Yeah. And he owns all these businesses and still makes time. Like, you go to Atlanta with us, you go to the state conventions, you go to the international, the national stuff. And I just think, again, so you can be a resource to your customers and a help to us to help us tell the story and all the things that we're going to do. And I just want to go back, because if you're not like local to this area or whatever and don't know what Pollard's Corner is, it's the iconic gas station in the heart of Columbia County, where when the lake opens, that's where everybody stops and gets their ice, their drinks, their gas, their snacks, and their food. And it could not have happened to better people, and what y'all have done it looks a million times better already. And I'm just so proud of you and Dana for, stepping up. And, again, you're already running two businesses, Sherwin-Williams and then the outdoor store and now a gas station. And your heart for serving and giving to others, like what you've done with the kids and the fishing and teaching kids to love to fish. I grew up fishing with my daddy. That was one of our things we did. And so I just love that. And I'm just appreciative of you. That really is building community. Building Community podcast was birthed to share with our community why building is so important. We don't just build houses, we actually build community. We support schools, we support local recreation teams, we also support our small businesses. The construction industry is one of the largest industries that pays sales tax, that pays property taxes in the entire country. So we really wanted to highlight why building community is so important.